So yeah, it's been a minute. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever happens to be while you're watching. Been kind of tied up with some stuff from work and getting a new vehicle and getting a new stove and getting a garage door repaired and life in general. So I just wanted to do a quick reminder. Yes, I'm still here, and I wanted to do a video about what's going on with Hunter Biden's laptop. I'm not going to go into the details on this. I'm just going to give you an overview of how you're being gaslit by the media. So the Hunter Biden stuff comes out of the New York Post. Of course, Twitter and Facebook do their thing. So the mainstream media came out and said, "Oh, it's Russian disinformation." So the director of the DNI, the director of national intelligence, came out and said, "No, we have given Congress no information or indication that this is part of any Russian disinformation campaign." Okay, strike one. The FBI came out and said, "No, we're not investigating this as Russian disinformation because there's no evidence of this being Russian disinformation." So strike two. So we have that to deal with. Or rather, the media has that to deal with. So they move on. They keep calling this alleged and unverified and uncorroborated, etc. So that's what I wanted to touch on. The information, first and foremost, the laptop is beyond a doubt Hunter Biden's. It's been proven as such. He signed a receipt for it. The shop owner owns the data because it was abandoned at his shop. So by state law, that laptop, as well as any and everything contained on a laptop, technically belongs to the shop owner. He can do with it whatever he wants. So he made a copy and then gave the originals to the FBI that sat on it. They're going to have to answer for that one. So, of course, it went to Giuliani. Giuliani gave it to the Post. The Post published it, or published some of the information. So I want to go through how they're lying to you about unverified and uncorroborated. So there's an email that's been displayed about, 20% for H, 10% being held for the big guy. You guys all know the email, right? So that email was sent by a person, not Hunter, somebody else. It was sent to Hunter and a few other people. Okay. So the laptop is no longer in doubt that it belonged at one point to Hunter Biden. So they have that source email. How do you corroborate that email as being a true email, not being photoshopped, edited, altered, etc.? How do you do that? Well, there's a couple different ways you can do this. One way is to go to the sender and look at either his computer or look at his account, whatever account he sent it from, and see if that email exists in his sent folder, right? So if that email exists, they compare the two emails and go, yes, this is the same time, date stamp. It's the exact same wording, letter for letter. It has now been a verified email. Okay, that's one way. Another way would be if there were multiple people copied on the email, or the email was sent to multiple people, you could also look at their emails, whether it be on a device or logging into their account, etc., and verify and see if that email is there. So if they check the other recipients of the email, and they find that exact same email with the exact same time, date stamp, and the exact wording letter for letter, that email has now been corroborated and verified. That is what has happened. One of Hunter Biden's business partners, who's currently serving jail time, gave a reporter his username and password for his email account. That reporter went in and found that same exact email. Now, mind you, this isn't on a device where the guy could have, typed it as a draft and whatever, and shoved it into his account. They logged into his email account and looked at the email on the service provider's server. So the person that owned it had no ability to edit it, alter it, Photoshop it, etc. Okay, so that's one verification. Two, verification is Bobulinski. He produced the same email that he was not originated by him, sent by this other guy that he was a recipient of. He showed the same email to have the exact same time, date stamp, and the exact same lettering and the exact same verbiage as the purported email from Hunter Biden, or that was produced from Hunter Biden's laptop. That's 2 independent corroborations of the exact same email. That is now a validated and verified email. So the chain of custody, if you will, is Hunter's laptop. The laptop is proven to be Hunter's. He signed a receipt for it. As a matter of fact, the FBI basically subpoenaed it. So the shop owner also has that documentation from the FBI. And Hunter's attorney requested to have Hunter's property returned to Hunter. Okay, so that's Hunter Biden's laptop. That email that was put into the New York Post was from that laptop and has now been corroborated by 2 independent people. By all legal thresholds and all legal standards, that could actually be used as evidence in a criminal investigation or in to bring charges. So if person X alleges person Y committed fraud or did something nefarious, person X says, "Hey, look, I got this email." Well, okay, but they have to corroborate that email because it could have been edited, altered, and photoshopped, right? So the information contained in says that person Y is doing bad stuff. Well, they can go to person Y's laptop or device or email account and see if that email exists in the sent account. Okay? If other people were copied on it and person Y actually deleted it, removed it because he knew it was bad, right? Well, if they go to the other 2 people that were copied on the email and look into their accounts or devices and see that exact same email exists, that is corroborated evidence. That meets the legal threshold as true evidence. That can be used as evidence to start an investigation, bring an indictment, etc. Depending, obviously, give or take with the situation. So that's what the case that we have. We have proof of ownership of the laptop. Email was produced stating what it stated. That email has now been corroborated by 2 people that were copied on the same exact email. That is now a validated and corroborated email. The media is lying to you. That email, just that one email, is enough to be considered validated. So we have the DNI saying no Russian involvement. We have the FBI saying no Russian involvement. We have proof that it was Hunter Biden's laptop. The email was produced from said laptop. 2 independent people that were copied on this email produced an exact copy of that email from 2 different sources, meaning one from their server account and one from their device. That is corroborated. It is not disinformation. It is not a concerted effort by the right-wing Republicans and Giuliani. It's all a bunch of bullshit you're getting from the media. Keep it simple. Go to the logic base of this. It's proven to be Hunter Biden's laptop. There's no proof of any Russian involvement. The email that got put out was from Hunter Biden's laptop. 2 independent people corroborated the email. Now, not only have those 2 other people corroborated that one email, there's a whole bunch of other emails that they've corroborated. There's information that both sources, Bobulinski and the guy who's in jail, that have, based on what they gave to investigators or allowed investigators to look at, has corroborated other information on Hunter Biden's laptop. So there's another piece of this too. Keep in mind, a couple weeks back, the Senate produced a report, 87 pages, descripting Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine and China, as well as alleging Joe Biden's part of all this, right? So the Senate used subpoenas and information gained from other governmental agencies to produce that report. That's what they reference in the report. If you look at it, download it, and read it, you'll see their references, right? So in that part, starting on page 67, they go from page 65 to page 87 is all the China stuff into the Senate report. What has recently just happened, specifically with Bobulinski and the information he's produced, the information he produced independently verifies the Senate's report. The Senate used their subpoena powers to gather information from governmental agencies and produce their report based on that. Now, some of the information they could not, are still classified and they can't release it for public purview. So the left and Democrats jumped all over it and said, oh, we looked at the same thing and we couldn't find it. That was story number 1. Well, now that Bobulinski has produced three cell phones that were used during his time when he was involved with the Bidens, as well as other documentation, that now reinforces and independently corroborates what the Senate report says. So now you have two sources of verified, corroborated information that the information being purported or reported by the New York Post coming from Hunter Biden's laptop is true. It cannot be Russian disinformation. It cannot be from the Kremlin, as Adam Schifferbrains, otherwise known as Adam Schiff, has been on the news saying. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit. The media is pushing a line of bullshit to run cover for Joe Biden. Why would they do that? Well, we all know now, due to the beauty of the internet, before the internet, you only had your mainstream media. You had ABC, CBS, NBC as the three main, right? The legacy media. Then CNN came about, then Fox News came about, and that's pretty much all you had until the internet came about, and then you started having independent journalists. So now with the advent of social media, you have a platform for independent journalists to put out information and documentation, news stories, and et cetera, right? So the legacy media has been in the tank, and this is not even debatable, of the left for decades, with the exception being of the legacy media or mainstream media being Fox News, obviously, right? So now they're totally exposed. They're having to run cover for Joe Biden. Now you add into it the tech tyrants, the Google, the Facebook, obviously Twitter. They're also running interference. Google, not only is Google running interference on because they're the owner of YouTube. They're now doing things on YouTube. They're putting little notes and fact checkers on videos on YouTube now, and they bury YouTube videos. As an example, I was looking for the Tucker Carlson interview, the full interview he did with Bobulinski. I could not find it, the full interview on YouTube. I had to go to BitChute to find it. So they're burying, not only like Twitter outright banning it, but YouTube is burying it where you can't find it. And then on top of that, Google search engine is heavily biased. I don't know. I've done a couple of videos showing side-by-side search results with Google, DuckDuckGo, Yahoo, and Startpage, I believe, to show you the different results you get back. If you don't use Google for anything. I mean, they're okay for like Google Maps or finding a store near you, your everyday stuff, right? But if you're looking for real information, especially if it's a information that's bad for the left, don't use Google. You won't find it. You will not find it. They bury it on page 10 of your search results. And if you ever notice on Google, if you search for something, especially something that's derogatory towards the left, that you could never find the search term exactly. That you may put Biden, Ukraine involvement as a search term, and you get a whole bunch of stuff about Biden from the New York Times, from the Washington Post, from Mother Jones, from left-wing sources. You're not going to find the search term you're looking for unless you go down 4, 5, 6 pages, and then it's going to be sources like PolitiFact fact-checking it, USA Today fact-checking it, etc. So you have the mainstream media, the legacy media, covering for Joe Biden. You now have Silicon Valley running cover for Joe Biden. My question is, why? Why? Why would these people, these businesses, these multi-billion-dollar businesses risk their business to do this? That's what needs to be asked. Everybody's all up in arms about Twitter, locking the New York Post out of their account still to this day, which is October the 29th. But nobody's asking, why are they doing it? Why are they doing? I mean, we all know they're left leaning. Okay. So they do things against conservatives, but they also, for all, due fairness, they also do some things to ban or shadow ban or whatever very far left leaning people, that not to the extent they do to the right leaning people, but they do. But why would they risk? Twitter is a multi-billion-dollar business. Why would they risk their business platform on doing this? Because if they get caught and it's proven, they're going to get busted up. Why would they do it? That's the question we need to start answering. And with that, I'll say goodnight, Grace.